By definition, an antenna is a metal whip designed to receive and transmit radio signals within a given area.
It's BS in the Morning on KSLQ and Westplex 107.1.
You know, songs like that ruin everything for me. You know why?
Why?
Well, you're the perfect example. I called you up and I said, hey, Shelley, you want to go shopping? And you said, do you have a Benz or a Maybach? I go, no, I got a 2002 Ford Escape. And you said, oh, not interested. Bye.
That's actually not how it happened. But thank you for that try.
6:27. We're a little bit late this morning. It's all my fault. Normally,
it is all his fault today.
Normally, this is the new me. Everything's my fault. Actually, Shelley overslept, and she said, hey, can we go on one break?
That is not true.
One break later.
I purposely stayed up and slept.
You what?
Do you know that well, you don't know this, but I woke up at 9 o'clock. It said 9, and I keep my bedroom real dark.
9P or 9A?
Well, I thought it was 9A, and I'm like, oh, my God, how could I have done that? It was 9P.
You thought you overslept.
I did. Oh. But then I woke up again at 10 and 11 and 12, thinking that it was during the day.
Why do you do that?
I don't know.
No, seriously, why do you do that?
Seriously, I don't know.
Wow, okay. She doesn't know. She doesn't know. Okay.
She doesn't know.
A lot of stuff going on today.
But I like her. I do.
I will not tell a lie. The reason we're a break late this morning is it took me. I started yesterday afternoon, probably about 3 o'clock, to dig my car out of my driveway. I just got it dug out. I'm telling you, when they said 5 to 10, they blew it. I mean, instead of 5 to 10, see, what happened was they missed that one, and instead of 5 to 10, we got 50 inches of snow yesterday. I'm going I'm going, man, it just snowed.
Oh, my goodness. They see through me. They see through me.
Not knocking the meteorologist, but you know what?
You would never do that.
What did I say Monday? Or Tuesday, I said, we're not going to get much snow. You know, I mean, 5 to 10 inches of snow. You know, could be as much as 12. I don't know. What did you get? 2? I mean, depending on where you're at.
That.
I was driving around yesterday at 10 o'clock in the morning, and there were spots, or no, it wasn't that. It was a little bit later, probably around 11:30 or so. And there were spots where first off, I never saw any snow on any street I was on. You know, it was okay, snow's all gone. And then on the interstate, I was on 36. Well, that's not an interstate. I was on 364, and I was on 40, and I was on 270. I'm thinking to myself, there's spots where it's dry already. I'm going what the heck happened? What happened to all this huge amount of snow we're supposed to get? Now, I do understand that some of the people in southwest Missouri, I think some places in the Joplin area, I heard somebody say that they've got 10 or 12 inches of snow down there. Once again, this is Brad with his goofy, stupid meteorology degree that he tried to get, which he wasn't successful in. See, aren't you happy that I failed at getting a degree? Anyway, I studied.
I'm elated.
One of the things I took away from meteorology is we had to study the weather on all the continents. You had to know the weather patterns on all the continents. And obviously I zeroed in on North America. And it's this crazy weird pattern where the weather comes across the Rockies, pretty much moving due east, coming from the west, traveling pretty much due east. By the time it gets into western Kansas and, places like Oklahoma and stuff like that, the currents out of the Gulf of Mexico, which are going the opposite way, they're going west to east or east to west, they tend to make all the weather patterns, at least in the Midwest, go from the southwest to the northeast. So for all intents and purposes, the storms pretty much mimic the track of I-44. If you know I-44, it's, across Missouri.
It's a corridor.
It's way down south.
It's a weather corridor.
Right. I-44
Do you remember when that really, really, really bad ice storm was?
Yeah, it was last.
And it went straight down 44.
Oh, yeah. Well, but see.
I was picking up my mill then.
Look at the way the tornadoes, let me try that again. Look at the way the tornadoes go. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
These nasty storms come right up 44, and they either hit the St. Louis area directly, or they go to the north of us, or they go to the south of us. Most of the time they go to the north of us, which is sort of interesting. If you compare the snowfall to St. Louis and Kansas City, which are basically at the same latitude. I mean, Kansas City, for all intents and purposes, due west of us. They get much more snow than we get. And it's just sort of weird. It's like, okay, how's that possible? We're at the same latitude. Typically, farther north you go, the more snow you get, the colder the temperatures. And, and the converse of that is the reverse of that is the further south you go, the less snow you get and the warmer the temperatures. I mean, like, for example, what's it in Miami right now? I know I have Miami, my web thing. Let me look here. Take a guess. And the crazy thing is, I've been looking at this lately. So many days lately, it has been colder here in St. Louis than in Anchorage, Alaska. Can you believe that? I mean, here, let me look at that again today. St. Louis, right now, it's currently 27. Kansas City's 15. See what I'm saying? They have much worse weather than we do. 15 degrees. We are 12 degrees warmer than they are right now. Anchorage, Alaska is 37. In St. Louis, it is 27. Anchorage, Alaska is 10 degrees warmer than we are. How's that possible? You know what I mean? How's that possible?
More things around the terrain.
I guess. Who knows?
Global warming.
No. You know what? This World Economic Forum that was last week, Al Gore, I'm so tired of him.
Did he bring in Greta?
No, he was yelling and screaming, blah, blah, blah. He made some claim that every day the global warming is contributing the amount of heat that was generated by 300,000 atomic bombs that we dropped on Hiroshima or something. I'm going, what? What is he talking about? I mean, it's just... And he's always got that fever pitch in his voice. Like, if we don't do something tomorrow, the weather, the earth is going to implode, and we'll all be killed, and we'll all die in this terrible death. He's been saying that for like 20 years now. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, what about the boy who cried wolf? Hey, there's a wolf, there's a wolf, there's a wolf. Nobody believes him anymore. At least, I don't. Do you believe Al Gore? If I had Al Gore on the show, first off, he'd never come on our show. You know why?
Why?
Because we use fossil fuels to run our transmitter. We take that coal.
So what, does he have a Tesla?
There's a radio station. There's a hippy dippy radio station.
Hippy dippy.
Seriously, it's like a throwback. It's like Keishi circa 1969. Okay, imagine that. Okay. It's out in Taos, New Mexico. KTAO. And they pride themselves on the fact that they are a green, the nation's first 100% green radio station. Their transmitter, 100% solar. Their transmitter building made from truck tires and aluminum cans and things like that.
And who is this place?
KTAO in Taos, New Mexico.
Oh, okay.
It's like a hippy-dippy radio station.
Isn't that where Johnny Rabbit was?
No. He was never at KTAO. This is a station in the middle of nowhere. And what's interesting about it is...
Oh, no, Wolfman Jack.
Yeah, no, he was never at that station. He did all the Border Bandit stations. We'll talk about it. As a matter of fact, I put that up. You saw that on my Facebook page yesterday.
Did.
Okay. Sort of sad. Yeah, interesting guy. Okay, we have to take a break. It is 6:30. Hold on, I'm going to get this right. 6:35.
Westplex 107.1.
You
are listening to BS.Show.
You're right on top of that. I'm impressed.
I'm right on top of that, Rose.
You're right on top of that. You know what's interesting about that song?
What?
The way it ends, I always want to sing one more song. I mean, one more phrase, because it almost sounds...
Is that?
Well, no, it almost sounds like it ends like it doesn't come to conclusive end.
So there's like a thing hanging out there.
Well, I could cheat on... Because it's like this thing...
I hate when things hang out there. Just get it over with, talk it out, finish it, and move on.
I got another real good one there. Beginning of second break.
Oh, stop it. You're like 4. Stop it.
Let me write that down. Okay, beginning of second break. I'll pull that one off later. Okay.
Joy, rapture.
And it will go into... Although, you haven't given me the good ones lately. It's been our buddy, Senator John Kennedy. And by the way, I fixed this one. Let me get this one. Here we go. Here we go.
Google may have to lay off up to 25 members of Congress.
No, it didn't. Oh, it didn't over... Oh, whoa. It's supposed to overwrite that one. It didn't overwrite it. I didn't fit. Well, it's fixed, but I didn't put it in there. Okay. And you know what I say to people when they do something wrong to me?
What?
Congratulations, butthead.
I just actually just tell them off.
Or, as John Kennedy says, what's the problem with our younger generation?
Must still be living in their parents' basement.
Yes.
We actually have a really good generation that can tell us off. They just choose not to.
And what's the problem with most people right now?
So everyone should take their meds and chill.
Yeah, their meds and chill.
Nice.
Anyway, 642. Crazy stuff. I mean, all you have to do is open up any of the news sites. I don't care which one you go to, MSNBC, CNN, Fox, any of them. There's stories in there that just like, okay, is this the Babylon Bee? You know what I'm saying? There's so many bizarre. Here, let's do it right now. Let's go to CNN and read the headlines. I'm just going to do this right off the top, nothing, and to the point where you got some of these stories are just like, okay, come on, is that for real or is that like farce? Okay, CNN.com. Okay, here we go. Top story: Russia unleashed strikes against U.S. and Germany decide to send tanks. Okay, they unleashed strikes after U.S. What did they do? Did they bomb us? I mean, if you know the story, why the Russians are now mad at us?
Why?
Germany and the United States have now agreed to send Ukraine tanks. We're sending the M1A1, I think it's M1A1, Abrams tank, which supposedly is the world's best tank. And Germany has a super-duper kind of tank they're sending as well, too. The only problem is we're sending 31 tanks, okay? 31 tanks in a battle like this. I think the Russians right now in Ukraine have like 1,500 tanks in Ukraine. We're going to send them 31. Like that's going to really do much good. I don't know. Maybe it will. Maybe the Ukrainians will get in there. But get this. Do you know why for a long time the United States said they would not send the Abrams tanks to Ukraine?
Yeah.
Do you know why they said they wouldn't do that? Why President Biden said they couldn't figure out how to run them. I mean, is that a slap in the face?
Come again? I'm sorry.
They couldn't figure out how to run the tanks.
And they being the
Ukrainians. Now, what's interesting about this is...
we just drop them off and don't give them any explanation on how to use them?
Here's the keys, good luck. Right. No, but...
That's not fair.
But the point being, what's interesting about this, the Ukrainians are a very intelligent group of people.
Matter of fact, so are we, but that doesn't mean that if something comes in a different language that we're going to be able to decipher it.
There are stories in World War II. Matter of fact, there's an interesting story I just read the other day about at the end of World War II, some of the German pilots who knew that if they surrendered to the Russians, they would be killed. The Russians just literally slaughtered a lot of German soldiers after World War II. They marched them off the Russian, never been seen again. They were killed. Okay, and mainly because of the fact, and the reason for this was, if you know the Battle of Stalingrad, the whole history of this kind of stuff, the Germans were really nasty to the Russians. As a matter of fact, there was a whole generation of kids who were born in, and this is somewhat, this is PG-13, but there were a whole generation of kids that were born in Russia because of all the German soldiers who raped all the Russian women. Okay? That's a historical fact. I'm not making that up, a very sad fact. Okay, so the story was a group of pilots decided they were going to surrender to the United States. Our war was over, and the one pilot was the highest rated pilot in the German army. He was like a colonel or something like that. And what's interesting was
a naval aviator.
Well, he was like a ace. He literally shot down hundreds of American planes, hundreds of American and Soviet planes.
Maverick, Viper?
No. But what's interesting was
Goose?
He only had one leg. He lost a leg in this. This is talking about a tough SOB. He lost a leg in combat. He was shot down, and one of his legs got amputated and he had a prosthetic made, and he still flew. And he flew for like 2 years with a prosthetic leg, okay? So anyway, him and a group of his other pilots decided they were going to surrender to the Americans. Now, this is talking about somebody having an inflated ego of themselves. The bizarre part of this was that the air base they chose, I believe this was I think it was England or France or someone, the American air base. The war was over. They had taken all the armaments off the planes. This was an air base, and they had no bullets in any of the planes, no bombs or anything like that. So here come these German aircraft at the exact time they're doing a ceremony celebrating the end of World War II. And all the troops are out in the field. They're standing at attention. They're in their dress uniforms, the whole bit. And here come like 8 or 9 German aircraft to land. And at first, they didn't know what was going on. They thought like, okay, let's what is this? And then they were going to attack them, but then they realized they were probably Germans surrendering. And the Germans purposely, when they landed the aircraft, they purposely damaged the aircraft on landing. They did what they call a ground loop. You know what a ground loop is?
I do not.
A ground loop is if you've ever seen this before, like sometimes you rarely see it like on big planes. Every once in a while you'll see it on a big plane. But a ground loop is when you come in to land and your wheels touch the ground and you bounce off the runway. And you go up in the air, and then you come back down and hit the runway again. And you bounce off the runway, and you go back up in the air. That's what they call a ground loop. Well, it tears the living daylights out of the landing gear. So most of them purposely ground loop their aircraft, crash them on the runway on purpose. So the Americans, even though the war was over, they're not going to let them fly the airplanes. Well, after they did this, the Americans went and fixed a couple of them, and they flew them. Mm-hmm. And they didn't know how to fly them. They just figured it out. They just got in the cockpit. Okay, let's flip this switch, and everything's in German. They're not, and they flew the planes, and they actually simulated dogfights, and they took up some of their own fighters, and they had their pilots trained, as dogfighters, and they found out how much superior these German planes were. So they didn't know how to fly them. They just learned. I'm telling you. I mean, it's just like if I said to you, "Hey, Shelley, you're driving a Lincoln, I'm going to let you drive a Chrysler." You'd say, "Well, will you teach me how to drive it?" You just jump in and you start driving it, right?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? You don't think you could drive a Chrysler? You don't think you could drive a Ford? Your husband has a Ford pickup truck. You know how to drive that,
no,
right?
No, he does not. He's a Chevy man.
Oh, that's right. He's got a Chevy guy.
I'm the Ford girl.
Right. Okay. He has a Chevy pickup truck. Did he ever say to you, "Shelley, honey, I'm going to teach you how to drive a Chevy. It's a little bit different than those Lincolns"?
No, he's never said that.
You just jumped in and drove his truck, right?
Yeah.
You didn't need any training, right?
No.
Right.
I had a Chevy Tahoe.
Oh, did you really?
Mm-hmm.
So you're the one.
The one.
Never mind. So we go back to our thing. So I think it was demeaning to the Ukrainians that, well, you guys wouldn't know how to run our tanks. Come on. You can teach practically anybody to do anything. You know what I mean?
That's true, but they have to want to do it.
I mean, like Shelley says, in order to do anything in this world, you have to go to school for kindergarten plus 12 years. Then you have to go to college. You have to get a master's degree, and then you have to get a PhD. That's the only way you can do anything in the United States.
Yeah, that's what I say.
The other day.
Thank you for clearing that up because I was a little hazy.
The other day, I heard a guy. It was funny. He could have been a clone of me. He was talking about how the formal education system has lagged behind in our country. Think about it, just you and me. Okay, we talked about this. I don't know, a couple months ago about if your parents cared about you, what did they buy? Remember we talked about this? A bunch of books. Remember they sit someplace and most people had it in their house. And
my mom bought me chiffon scarves.
No.
Yes, she did.
Encyclopedias. Remember we talked about this?
Oh, yeah, I do have World Book and
See, that's what I'm saying. Most people, if your parents cared about you because some guy knocked on the door selling encyclopedias. Yes. "Hi, I'm Joe, the encyclopedia salesperson. Do you have kids?" "Yes, we do." "You want those kids to become successful in life, don't you?" "Yes." "You want them to get a good job and have a pension they can retire on, right?" "Yes." "Okay, well, you know what? The key to that is encyclopedias. And guess what? I'm selling encyclopedias. Oh, I'll take 3 sets. We've got 3 kids. Okay. So once upon a time, the font of knowledge was to have encyclopedias at your house, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Either had World Book or Encyclopedia Britannica.
Britannica, right? All right. And there was another one. I can't remember what that one was. Okay. So the problem was that when they showed up at your house, they were already outdated. And you told me, didn't you tell me you still get the update books or something like that?
I don't still get them, but I did up to 2021.
And every year they sent you a book that essentially it's like historically what happened in that year, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I can pick up my phone right now and find out things that are happening right now. I can watch teleconferences. I can watch news conferences. I can watch seminars that are going on at this very moment. If I want to find out about the World Economic Forum, I can go to 20 different websites. If I want to find out about the latest in nuclear fusion, which they're talking about, not fission, but fusion, which is supposedly the new way of us going green, I can find all sorts of things like that. Who needs to go to school anymore?
Oh, Brad.
You know it was coming. Didn't you know it, Shelley?
Yes, I did.
You know it was coming.
Heavy sigh.
No,
dude,
but
heavy sigh.
seriously, we live in a time right now where, and this guy on another radio station was talking about, you hold the world of information in your hand. And even in our lifetimes, go back. See, I say this to people, and people go, huh? How's that possible? I had my first website up in 1993, okay? That's 30 years ago. 30 years ago, I had a website up, right? Think about that for a minute, okay?
That's actually when I started learning on a Zenith PC
Right.
28.
Or a Trash 80. If you know with the TRS, everybody called them Trash 80s. That was the Radio Shack one.
Or compact.
Right. Or a Commodore. Remember the Commodore? The Commodore.
Yes, I do.
The Commodore 64s, and
I do.
They were like super basic computers.
Yes, they were.
Now,
And they were heavy.
In your hand with your Ronco Fold-O-Matic. Thank you, Mike Otten. That's the funniest thing you ever told me.
Yeah, thanks, Mike Otten.
The Ronco.
That, dude.
What's the name of that official name of that thing?
It's a Z Fold 3.
A Z Fold 3.
A Samsung Z Fold 3.
And it's such a great unit. It already broke on her twice, right?
No, just once.
Okay. In your hand, you have more computing power than was in the entire Apollo space program.
I believe. Well.
I mean, in the entire Apollo space program.
It was different. It's different technology.
But, well, it is, but it isn't. But, I mean,
it is.
I mean, I can go to Micro Center and buy a gig. Matter of fact, I don't even know if you can get a gig anymore. A gig of memory, a memory stick that goes in the computer, okay? I can buy a gig of memory for, I don't know, a gig. You probably can't buy just one anymore. You have to buy them probably in 2s or 4s or something like that. A gig of memory is like, what, $60, $70? A gig of memory back in the 60s would have cost a couple $1 million.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just to the point where...
Maybe not that much,
well,
but it'd be up there.
It would be easily six figures. Easily six figures.
Oh, yeah.
My first IBM PC had an expansion card on it, and it had, I think, like maybe 100 memory chips in it. And the problem with that was that if one of the memory chips went bad, the whole computer essentially became a boat anchor. And there was a program that you bought that would tell you which chip went bad, and you had to take the computer apart and you had to figure out, okay, they were all numbered, and you had to go, okay, blah, 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 blah. Okay, this one, you pull out this little 8-pin dip. You know what an 8-pin dip is, right?
I do.
Okay, you pull out a little 8-pin dip, and you'd pop a little new 8-pin dip back in, and the 8-pin dip was like $30, and it was like 4K of memory or something like that. And you pop the little dip back in, and you turn your computer on, and it worked until another chip went out. I mean, I've got computers around here at the radio station that are almost as old as my kids, and they're still up and running. I mean, when you think about that, I'm a car guy. I guess what I find fascinating is I look at certain models of cars that I'm interested in buying, and if you find one of them that's under 150,000 miles, you're going, wow, That's low miles. Remember the day when if you had a car that
remember.
If you had a car that made it to 100,000 miles, you were like the smartest person in the world. You were like doing your maintenance.
You got pictures taken, balloons falling, champagne popping.
Now it's not unusual for people. Remember we had Pinky and Stripes on. We had Pinky on, and he talked about that they bought a new car, and what was that in May of what was it May? Was it May?
Of this race year.
Essentially they put 100,000 miles on a car driving around. He was running for state. Mark McCloskey, he's running for U.S. Senator, not state senator, U.S. Senator. And him and his wife, Pinky and Stripes, bought this brand new car. It was actually an SUV. They had a trailer they pulled around with it the whole bit. I mean, even once again, a trailer makes it even more tougher on the vehicle. And they put 100,000 miles on the car in like 11 months. I mean, you got to be doing some driving. Sometimes these tractor trailers pass you on the highway. Some of the tractors, what they call, that's what they call them, tractors, or the actual truck part of a tractor trailer. It's not unusual for some of those have 1 million miles on them. 1 million miles. A truck's, it's not unusual for a truck to easily have 500,000 miles on it before they even have to do any major work to the engine. I mean, don't you think that's amazing?
Yes, I do.
You don't.
Huh?
You don't. Just like if I pulled up.
How do you know I don't? I just said I do.
If I pulled up with a tractor trailer in front of your house and I say, hey, Shelley, I'm going to give it to you if you can drive it down the street. It's yours if you can drive it down the street. You'd get in and figure that thing out real quick, wouldn't you?
Yes, I would.
See, that's what I'm saying. You talk about the poor Ukrainians can't operate the Abrams tanks. What are you talking about? They can do just fine. Okay, next hour.
If they knew what it was capable of, they would know how to operate it. They would figure it out.
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know.
Yes, that's true.
Next hour, I'm going to have some fun with personalized license plates with an article that Mike Otten sent me the other day, which I find absolutely fascinating. And we are going to, I'll just put it this way. This is a list of personalized license plates that were denied by the state of Missouri, okay? And there's hundreds of them on there. And I guess I must be the dumbest guy in the world because I can't figure out why most of them were denied. If somebody applied for the license plates S blank blank T, I would get that. Oh, we're not going to get that plate. Or somebody applied for
Well, you got.
No, don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
I
Don't
didn't say it. I said never mind.
There's this stupid guy on YouTube that bragged about getting a license plate, I think in Georgia or Mississippi, and he lied to the people of how he got it. And he's doing a YouTube video. I'm thinking to myself, okay, somebody's going to forward that YouTube video to the people, and they're going to reclaim his plate. I'm going like, how stupid can you get? Because when they asked him,
did they do it?
Oh, I don't know. But on the Missouri application now, they changed it. When you apply for personalized plates, you have to give an explanation of the plate. And that's what they did with him. They called him on the phone and said, we're considering. That happened to me with my crap plates. They were not going to issue KRAP.
Well, there's a reason for that, Brad.
It's a radio station. Okay, we have to take a break. It's 6:59.
Mm-hmm.
It is BS.Show 7:06. I'm Shelley. She's Brad. I apologize for being a little bit late on the air this morning. I had to dig out of those 3 feet of snow at my place. God, it was terrible. I just got the car undug from yesterday.
What'd you just say?
Never mind.
What did you just say?
I said, I apologize of being late.
Well, I heard that part. What about the other?
I had to dig my car out of the 3 feet of snow from yesterday.
Yeah. Is that really true?
Oh, didn't it storm? I mean, can you see out your windows now? I mean, the snow was, I understand, like, were you, in your neighborhood, people.
It actually was pretty
the snow was
snowy.
Snow was up your gutters. Wasn't that the case with your place?
No.
Obviously, I'm making fun of the fact we're supposed to have 5 to 10 inches of snow. I think by yes, I don't think there's any snow left. Okay, couple things right off the bat that I want to mention. First off, this is somewhat interesting. There's a representative from Joplin, Missouri. Keep in mind, we're on one end of 44. Joplin's on the other end. Joplin is almost to the Kansas state line. Okay, it's like 58 miles or something between St. Louis and Joplin. A state representative from Joplin is putting a bill through Missouri legislature to appoint a special prosecutor in the city of St. Louis to prosecute crimes.
Why? They won't get any jail time.
Well, no, but think about this for a minute. He's from Joplin, and he's concerned about the fact that our very own prosecutor in the city of St. Louis, Kim Gardner, will not prosecute anybody. Remember, there's the list of the police. If police officer catches someone, a certain police officer who's on her S list, and you know what the S list is. If the certain police officer,
The Shelley list?
yes, the Shelley list. If that police officer witnesses somebody murdering someone, and he's got his dash cam video, and he's got his body cam video, and he grabs the guy who just murdered someone and throws him in his squad car, takes him down to the processing center, processes him, and Kim would go, oh, that's Officer so-and-so? Oh, we don't prosecute any crimes that he brings us. Let that guy go. He just murdered somebody. We got it on video camera. We got it on body camera. We got dash cam camera. And he just admitted he did it. No, sorry. That's Officer so-and-so. We don't prosecute any crimes he does. So this guy, who is a state rep from Joplin, has put a bill which, if it is approved, goes through the House and the Senate, would appoint a special prosecutor that would be given by the governor. The governor would appoint this special prosecutor who would go into the city of St. Louis and start prosecuting all the crimes that Kim Gardner won't. Now, why is it that a guy from Joplin is doing this? How come we don't have like our boys out in St. Charles County, Bill Eigel and the Nick Schroyer and you know the what's his name, Chris Finale and people like that, and not only that, the representatives from the city of St. Louis. There's a bunch of reps in the city of St. Louis. Why is it a guy from Joplin? You know why it is?
Why?
The guy from Joplin is a former police chief in Joplin, and he thinks it's terribly sad what's happening to the city of St. Louis.
It is.
So here he is on the other side of the state, saying, hey, we got to fix it to St. Louis. Now, do you know about this new place? And my son was going to go for his birthday. My youngest son was born on December 23rd. And I took him out to lunch, had a nice time with him on his lunch. And I said, what are you doing tonight? His buddies were going out. And he says, we're going to the Armory. I go, oh, that's cool. You know what the Armory is?
I think I do, but go ahead.
It's the old Armory building where it used to be like, the Armory building.
In Granite City?
No. In St. Louis, right there on Highway 40. As you're going west on Highway 40, you're on the elevated section. You come west of Jefferson, and you go in the elevated section. Going westbound, you're up in the air. And on the right is the new thing called the Foundry. On the left is the Armory. It's a great big old monstrous building. You can't miss it. And it was used as the Armory for a long time. The military trained there and stuff like that.
It was.
Okay, so now it's a recreation center. They have all sorts of neat stuff, okay? The problem at the Armory is it's drawn all these crowds, and guess what happens to their cars in the parking lot? They get broken into all the time. And the story was just last week, or maybe it was this week, maybe it was Monday, the police staked it out, and they saw a bunch of kids, and of course they're like 15, 16-year-old kids breaking into cars. They chase them. The kids shoot at the cops. They grab the kids, take them down to juvenile detention, and they get released. Think about that for a minute, okay?
I don't blame the officer from Joplin.
I mean, they get released. They're firing guns at our police officers.
Exactly.
They're juveniles. They get caught red-handed breaking into cars.
How can that be okay?
Who knows?
I mean, really, how can that be okay with someone who has taken a vow to keep our cities and streets safe?
I don't know. And can you imagine how frustrated the police must be? I mean,
they just have to, I don't know.
I
want to put her in a janitor's closet.
Okay,
let them do their job.
Right. Okay. But here's the big picture thing. Okay, you and I are St. Charles County people, right? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. There's people in Jefferson County and Franklin County and North St. Louis County and West St. Louis County and South St. Louis County. How many people are going to go, oh, I'm going to check out that new Armory place? You're going to drive, you got to get in your car and drive in from Weldon Spring or Cottleville or from Washmo or from Arnold or places like that, or even from the east side. Oh, drive in from Edwardsville. How many people, after they heard these stories about all the break-ins at the cars at the new Armory, going like, not going there, right?
Well, if they went downtown, they'd experience the same thing.
Well, but
I went down there one time, downtown in the city, and I was meeting a friend down there, and she happened to be a black girl. And so I went to this party she was having, and I was the only white girl, which was fine. And we sat there, and I parked in the parking lot that had um, attendants
Right.
and lights.
Right.
Well, after the party was over, I walked back out, and all the lights are gone and the attendants, off. So here I am in the middle of the city at midnight 30 maybe, and I'm in a parking lot that has no lights, no
Did-
what's the word?
No security.
Security. And Carla goes, "What did you park there for?" I said, "Because they had lights and security." She goes, "Shelley, that all ends at 11.
So did you have to pay for that lot?
No, I didn't have to pay.
Well, I was going to say
But that wasn't the point.
well. See,
It was right outside the door of this place that we went.
Where were you supposed to park? Where did she want you to park?
She didn't say.
Okay, here, hold on a minute. I can do something here. Hold on. Okay, now keep going.
And she's so funny. Then somebody came up and wanted some money, and she's like, "Get a job." And I'm like, "Carla, don't say that kind of stuff."
Well,
That's
see,
pretty funny.
but see,
But my point being is my car would have been broken into
but see,
had I not left right after it closed.
that that is in essence the problem, because of the fact that if someone invited you to, let's say, the Knights of Columbus Hall in Washington, or
Yes.
the what's the place there in Old Town St. Peter's? It's the VFW Hall that has the restaurant.
Yeah,
What's that?
Hobos?
Hobos Restaurant. If someone said, "Hey, Shelley, we're having a party at the Hobos Restaurant, or the Knights of Columbus in Washmo, or we're going to meet you at the VFW Hall in Arnold," okay, you wouldn't think twice about parking your car there, right?
Right.
Because it's the suburbs. It's like, the outer ring counties. Like even to the point where if you said, "Oh, I'm going to park my car at, I'm going down shopping at Walmart in the Valley, in Gumbo Flats," you wouldn't think twice about that. But
I wouldn't.
if you go down to the city, it's like, okay, who's going to break into my car? I mean, it's one of those things. It's like,
It's like I went down there to see Tiffany when she was working in North City,
right,
when she was a paramedic.
right.
And I'm like, "Let's go to Crown Candy."
And she's going like, "No, not
That's
going there."
kind of what she said.
She goes, "Mom, do you know what goes on down there?" Right.
I go, "But honey, it's Crown Candy.
My
I've lived here my whole life and never went to Crown Candy."
middle
She's like, "Mom, it's not going to be today."
my middle son, Blake, years ago, I took him to a Rams game. And we left the stadium. I said, "Hey, we're going to go, and I'm going to show where your mom and dad or your grandma and grandpa used to live," because my mom and dad used to live in North City. So we leave the stadium down there, and we go on Tucker, which turns into, I don't know what it is, West Florissant or something like that. We're going West Florissant. We're going to West Florissant from downtown all the way out to I-70. I said, we're going to go the stretch out all the way out to I-70. We'll pick up I-70 at West Florissant, head back home into St. Charles. Okay, fine. So we go about a half mile. And my son starts sort of nervously moving around in his seat. And I go, "You okay?" He goes, "Dad, I'm getting really scared." I'm going, "What's going on?" I'm like, no big deal, right? He's picking up the fact that here's a house that's all boarded up. Here's a house that's falling down. Here's a house that's been torched. Here's a house where there's 3 houses missing, and then there's a house, and then there's another 4 houses missing. And I turn off of West Florissant to go where my dad lived for a while. And my son literally reaches over and grabs my hand, or grabs my arm and says, "Dad, can we just get back on the highway?"
It's funny. I went over and saw a friend in Woodson Terrace.
Yeah.
And I thought I knew the way to her house, but evidently I didn't. And it doesn't matter where you are, whether it's a affluential neighborhood
Right.
or not, there will always be a bad part of town.
Right.
Ladue, it doesn't matter. That's just the way it is. So I'm sitting here looking for my friend, and it's getting dark, and I'm sitting here looking for my friend's house. And then all of a sudden, my daughter tells me I need to be more aware of my surroundings. So that thought comes into my mind, and then I realize I've basically blocked all my exits because I went into this place where it was like a circle.
Yeah.
And all of the streets were blocked off except for the one I came down. So I figured I really needed to turn around and go back to a place that I was familiar with.
You're making fun of Woodson Terrace. Woodson Terrace is a nice place.
It is a nice place. She's got a lovely house.
You know, it's funny.
I grew up in Woodson Terrace.
I mean, just because of the fact that you know, I mean, like, for example, the reason you won't ever come into my place is I got a bullet hole through my front window. And you've seen it, haven't you?
I have.
Okay, personalized license plates. Mike Otten sent me this.
Okay, yes, please.
Here's the state policy. No personalized license plate shall be issued containing any letters, numbers, or combination of letters and numbers which are obscene, profane, patently offensive, or contemptuous of a social, race, or ethnic group, are offensive to good taste or decency, or would present an unreasonable danger to the health or safety of the applicant, or other users of the street and highways, or of the public in any location where the vehicle with such a plate may be found. We need an English teacher to diagram that sentence, right? It's the point where it's like, it went on like for 42 different sentences. Okay. This is the list from Channel 2, that's how they got it. This is the list. Now, what's interesting is this is the list of most of the plates. Some submissions have been removed for vulgarity. Well, if they wouldn't issue the plate, shouldn't they also be removed from let me try that. For vulgarity. I can't talk this morning. Okay.
That's easy for you to say.
Okay, the first license plate, these are done by dates. They have a whole bunch, like there's a whole range of dates. The first 20 plates were all rejected on January 18th. They must have like a meeting and do it okay, the very first license plate rejected of 2022, Osama. O-S-A-M-A. Now,
I can see that.
Most of these, I can't figure out why they rejected it. Like, maybe I'm going to make fun of myself because people go, I know exactly why. Here's the second one. The number 1, an FB. What is that? 1FB? Do you know what that is? 1FB.
I don't.
Why is that offensive? Now, there are some of them that are pretty obvious, like BAADAF. You know what that one is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's Shelley's license plate. And Shelley told me this. I can't believe it. She actually got rejected for this license plate. FUBARR.
Right on.
It's FUBAR, but it's spelled like Shelley's name with RR. Her name is Barr, B-A-R-R.
Yeah.
So this is your plate, FUBARR. Sorry, Shelley, they wouldn't issue your plate.
That's okay.
Now, some of these...
I cried. It didn't
right.
work.
Like some of these are, like here's one, MURD3R. So it's murder with a 3 instead of an E. I'm going, okay. Some of these, there's a lot of FKs, you know what I mean? There's like FK this, and then there's a bunch of Joe Biden plates. If you read the license plates, you go like, okay, I know what that one is. Some of these are pretty obvious, like W1DASS, okay? We'd have to say that one aloud, know what that one is. There's a bunch of them in here that are, like here's the Joe Biden plates. There's on the 9th of February of last year, they rejected 3 plates, actually 4 plates in a row. FJB01, FJB01K, FJB46X, FJBLFG, FJBLFG. Those are all rejected. And FKAJOB. Somebody applied for, no, there's not, they keep going. FKBDEN, FKBYDN, FKN816, FKN81. God, they're just like one after another. And some of them are sort of funny. Like I told the story that our call letters for our AM station are crap, KRAP. I applied for the license plate for our truck. Matter of fact, I just put that on my Facebook page the other day. I when I first got the plates, I put my crap plates on the truck. And it took months till they issued that. I got 3 phone calls from Jefferson City. And they're going like, okay, explain to us what this is. I go, it's a radio station. And the guy says to me, is it a ham radio station? I go, no, it's a regular broadcast radio station. He says, well, the FCC would not issue those call letters. I said, I've got the call letters. I'll send you a copy of my FCC license. And the guy says, okay, fine. So I sent a copy of the license, and a couple weeks later, another person called me, lady called me. We're still debating on we're going to issue this license plate. Crap. Well, it's my call letters. She says, and same thing, is it a ham radio station? No, it's a real radio station. It's a radio station in Washington, Missouri. KRAP. Those are our call letters. And the FCC issued you that? Yes, I already sent the license down there. Third guy calls me like a couple weeks later. Well, we're having a problem with this plate. We don't know if we're going to issue this one or not. We think it's obscene. I go, it's my call letters. Crap. He goes, do you display this any place? So I go out to the transmitter site, and I take a picture of our sign at the transmitter site, and I send it back to him. Here's our transmitter site on Highway 47, a mile north of the Washmo Bridge. This is our sign. Then they issued the plate.
Okay.
So I have that plate. So anyway, what's interesting about this is there's a bunch of them on here that I have no idea what, like here's one that's pretty obvious, TATTAS, okay? I get that one. There's a lot of them where they are using the 3 or the 5 backwards. Here's one. Here's one that's pretty obvious they wouldn't issue. You ready for this one?
Uh-huh.
MRFART. Mr. Fart.
Why would they stop that one?
I don't know. They won't issue that one.
I mean, that's just kind of fun and jovial.
Mr. Fart. Yeah, right. And there's a bunch of them with numbers, which I'm going like, okay, I have no idea what that one is. Here's where I'm trying. TTMF. Okay, am I missing something? What's TTMF? That's like TTY. Talk to you, TTYL. What's TTIMF?
No, that's not what it is.
Do you know what TTMF is?
I do.
Okay, what am I missing? Am I missing something bad on that one?
Ta-ta.
Oh, yeah, I get it. Okay. Then there's sexy, spelled SEXXXE. Now, I don't know about that one. What's wrong with that one? If someone's,
there's nothing wrong with that one.
I agree. It's a woman. She a plate on her car, sexy. SEX. Now, I guess maybe it's because the triple X. SEXXE, sexy. Okay, triple X. Maybe that's what it is. LGBUNO. Do you get that?
LGBUNO. Buno?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. And here's one, Chef 68. Okay, what's wrong with Chef 68? I mean, if you're a chef, maybe you're born in 1968, right? Or you're 68 years old. Here's one. Matter of fact, here's another plate that Shelley applied for, didn't get. No poop. N-O-P.
That's something you didn't apply for. You didn't get.
N-O-P-O-O-P. No poop. How about sex slave? S-E-X-S-L-V.
I can see why they gave that one up.
Here's one. Tall. T-A-L-L-A-F.
Yep.
That must be a tall dude or a tall dudette, one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another one. F-A-R-T-N. Okay. I don't know about that one. And it goes through the entire year. There must be hundreds on here. BCH 247. Now, my initials are BCH. So that could be me. So I'm BCH 24/7. So is that BH 24/7? Is that what that one's supposed to mean? Is that a woman who's like always eternally biatchy? Is that what that one means? BCH 24/7?
Yes.
God, there's a whole bunch of these. I mean, and once again, I can't figure out most of them. I'm going like, okay, here's another one. Here's FU.
And do you know that there's a lot of people that want happy in their license plate?
You've got happy.
I know I have happy, but I had to go through
holy hell
30 generations to for them to give me that one.
Here's a couple more. MFFR. Here's Poopies, P-O-P-P-Y or P-O-O-P-Y-S, Poopies. There's a bunch of 420 plates they won't issue. You know what the 420 plates are?
Is that the pot thing?
Right, it's the pot thing. They won't issue those plates. Bunch of the 420 plates. I don't know. It's just some of them are just like, I don't know. Here's one that you could have had when you had the cab company. All cab, A-L-L-C-A-B. Now, what's wrong with that? Am I missing something on that one? ALL?
Yeah, I don't know why that
CAB?
is. But I actually tried to get my plates to say AF because it was air flight,
Right?
and then the cab number.
And they wouldn't issue them.
They would not issue them because of a ham plate.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, some of the calls are that's one of the one of the
Yes.
prefixes. AF. Yes. I'm a K. I used to be a WB. Now I'm a K. Okay, we have to take a break.
That was fun, Mike. Thank you for playing.
Yes, I love personalized plates.
I know you do.
My all-time favorite personalized plates. This has probably been 20, 25 years ago. I'm walking into the East Terminal at Lambert to get on a Southwest flight. I parked my car in a short-term parking. I was, doing one of those out and back and one-day things. I parked my car, and there was a guy loading up his. I can still remember what kind of car it was. It was a Ford Explorer, and he had Texas plates on it, and he had Texas Purple Heart plates. And his license plate was ouch, OUCH. And I went up to the guy. I go, that is really cool. I said, and you're a Purple Heart veteran? And he says, damn right I am. And I go, thank you for your service, and I love your plate. Ouch, Purple Heart plates. Yeah. Okay. We have to take.
Ouch,
Yeah.
like E.T.
Yeah. Not like E.T.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have to take a break. It's 7:29. It is BS.Show, 7:34. I'm Shelley. She's Brad. You know what? I had this brilliant idea the other night, an advertising idea. You ready for this?
Sure.
I don't know if it'd work.
Okay.
You obviously know what QR codes are, right?
I do.
What if you rented a billboard and just had a giant QR code? Do you think that would work? If you drove by on a highway, if you pointed your phone at the QR code in the billboard, you think you would pick it up and it would read it?
The only thing I can think of is if you were a driver,
Yeah.
that would be a distraction. And so the one time they sit there and they pop your QR code, then they get in a fender bender, you're going to be the one to blame.
But do you think that would work? Do you think a giant QR code would work?
I do.
Do you really?
Yes.
So, you think that if you put, on a billboard, because here'd be the thing. Everybody would drive by that, and if there was nothing else in the billboard, it would just had a big white billboard in the middle, had a QR code. It was 12 feet tall and 12 feet wide. People would go I wonder what that QR code is. Don't you think they would?
QR codes are making a comeback.
Yeah, they were
kind of prevalent for a while, and then they kind of.
They were hot, and everybody had them, and everybody had them on
Yeah.
their business card, and then they disappeared. Now they're back again. I agree. It's sort of
They
weird.
are.
Okay. Have you ever heard of this Twitter account called Libs of TikTok?
No.
It's pretty funny because all this woman does, matter of fact, she's sort of been in hiding because the liberals hate her. It's literally called Libs of TikTok, and all she does is on her Twitter page, she takes TikTok videos that are put up there by people. And what's bizarre about it is these people are freely putting these videos on TikTok, but yet when she puts them on Twitter and calls them, in other words, what she's doing, she goes, look at these crazy, weird people. Look what they're doing on TikTok. Then they get mad at her. I can't believe you did that. You're saying my video is bad. Okay, the latest one. You ready for this?
Sure.
This was on Libs of TikTok. A Massachusetts preschool teacher was fired from her job this week after the superintendent received photos showing her allegedly creating content for her OnlyFans account at the school. Now,
Okay.
do you know what OnlyFans is? You know what OnlyFans is, don't you?
No.
You don't know what OnlyFans is?
No.
Oh my God. There's women making tons of money on OnlyFans. OnlyFans.
What is that?
It's like a private, for the most part, it can be like a private porno channel. So in other words, you subscribe to, let's say you had your OnlyFans account up. Well, I won't say you. Let's say a woman, a generic woman. A woman decided, I don't want to go to work anymore. I just want to sit at home and make money. So what you do is you'd put an OnlyFans account up and you would promote it, and you would get people who would essentially pay per view or a monthly fee or a yearly fee and stuff like that. And they can watch you do live stuff, or they can watch videos of you. So a lot of the porn stars are on OnlyFans. There's a lot of, matter of fact, there was I don't know if you remember this, one of Charlie Sheen's ex-wives, wasn't he married to Denise Richards? You know who I'm talking about? Wasn't it Denise Richards he was married to? You know?
I think so.
Okay. The big controversy has been Denise Richards and her daughter both have OnlyFans accounts. So, once again, like mom, like daughter, they're both doing porno stuff. Okay. So this lady is doing OnlyFans stuff where she is stripping and she's flashing her, shall we say, her breasts on her OnlyFans account. The only problem is she's at school. She's doing this, and they don't know if it's after school or before school or during school. And you can clearly identify that, and essentially they figured out where she worked, and people identified the school. Oh, that's the so-and-so grade school. So, matter of fact, it's the Wolf Swamp Road School in Longmeadow, Massachusetts. They figured out that this woman was posting these nude or semi-nude, or she's flashing her boobs or flashing her butt or stuff like that on her OnlyFans account. And she's a teacher's aide, at the Wolf Swamp Road School. Now, what's interesting is the OnlyFans policy is you cannot do any of this on public property. You can't do nude stuff. You can't walk into a theater, like let's say you walk into the, Warenberg, or what is it now, the Marcus Theater, and you can't.
Yeah, which they're closing across the country.
Are they closing Marcus Theaters? Mm-hmm. They're closing here in St. Louis?
I don't know, but okay. I read that they were closing a lot of their cinemas.
The Marcus people are going to have a hit squad out for you now because you just defamed them. Okay. Anyway, never mind. You can't. It says right here. It's provided school with photos from an OnlyFans account. Okay, it says OnlyFans. Let me see. Read the exact same. OnlyFans. They have a disclaimer on here. It says, let's see if I can find it. And here's a picture. Oh, they actually got a screenshot of it. They blacked it out, and you could tell she's in a school. It's so bizarre. Here we go. The story comes less than 3 months after an Arizona middle school science teacher was forced to resign when her students stumbled across her pornographic OnlyFans video. Her students found it. The Lake Havasu City Police Department said it received an anonymous tip about a Thunderbolt teacher. Wouldn't you like to work at Thunderbolt School? Thunderbolt teacher engaging in pornography, and some of the images depicted her in a classroom-type setting. She was doing porno at the class. Police said in a statement that the images were presumably taken on school property, prompting an investigation of whether any laws were broken. Blah, 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 blah. The teacher was later blocked from the platform due to its policy that prohibits users. This is OnlyFans policy. It has a policy that prohibits users from uploading, posting, displaying, or publishing content on the platform that features sexual activities and was recorded or broadcasted from a public place. So you can't go to the Arch and flash your butt or something like that at the Arch and go on OnlyFans. Only anyone breaching the acceptable use policy can be banned from OnlyFans platform. There are a lot of women making big bucks on OnlyFans. I'm telling you. See, and once again, only on the internet. You know what I mean? Think about it. Think about how the internet has changed so many things. My frustration is, like, for example, I have a situation right now. I bought a piece of equipment last week, a used piece of equipment. And the guy said, it was on eBay. And the guy said he was going to ship it. And let me look at it right now because I'm thinking to myself, okay, here we go. He goes, going to ship it USPS first class. Okay, I have great results with USPS first class.
Never I have results.
I have great
the Postal Service.
Great luck. I mean, when they send it, I get stuff from California sometimes. If I buy parts or stuff like that from California, sometimes if I buy it on a Monday, I got it on Wednesday. I'm going
Good for you.
But USPS, okay. So when the guy ships it to me, he sends me the tracking information, and it's FedEx ground. Okay, let me look at this. FedEx ground is, I think there's a guy walking it across. Of course, the guy's in Sacramento. Of course he's in Sacramento, and it's coming all halfway across the country, okay? Let me do eBay, find where my package is. It's been sitting in Lenexa, Kansas for 3 days. I'm going why is my package just sitting in Lenexa, Kansas? It was shipped. It's been in progress, moving across the country. This is day 10. Day 10. Here it is right here. Track package. Da-da-da. Oh, guess what? It departed. What? It's now moved out of Lenexa. It's been in Lenexa since Monday. It says departed Lenexa, Kansas, 12:43 this morning, January 26th. So it's been.
So it should be out for delivery today.
Oh, no. It won't be out for delivery today. It won't be out delivery till tomorrow, which means it'll hit St. Louis probably. It's probably in St. Louis probably right now. It won't get sorted until it'll miss the sort this morning, and I won't get it till tomorrow. If I'm lucky to get it tomorrow. It sat in Lenexa, Kansas, 23rd, 24th, 25th, and it didn't leave till the 26th. Just sat there. And it just says, in transit, no scheduled delivery, date available at this time. Okay, fine. 4 days in a row. In transit, no scheduled delivery, date available at this time. Lenexa. I know exactly where that's at because it used to be down the street from where my kids, my two sons used to live. They lived in Lenexa. And I know exactly where the FedEx place is. Isn't that crazy?
It is cray-cray.
I mean, but I'm telling, because see, here's the difference. UPS and FedEx, if you ship it regular ground, it stays ground. If you ship it USPS, United States Postal Service, and even first class, a lot of it gets onto plane. So if it's coming from California, a lot of times it'll bounce around like in California for a day, and you'll see it like, it'll be like, start out in Sacramento, and then it'll show in LA. That means it went to air freight. So if it ends up in LA, the next day it's in St. Louis. But yet, no, not UPS, not FedEx. It's got to travel across the country in a covered wagon. You know what I mean?
See, I like FedEx.
Well, if you FedEx next, because see, what's interesting, a lot of people don't realize this. FedEx is divided in all these different companies within a company. FedEx overnight is a totally different operation than FedEx Ground. Did you know that?
I do.
The drivers for FedEx Ground do not work for FedEx. Did you know this?
I don't know if I did or not.
They're contractors. They're guys who buy routes. Matter of fact, the next time you see like not a FedEx, next day, but if you see like a FedEx truck in your neighborhood, look at the bottom of the truck, near the front of the truck. There'll be a sign. It'll say right in there, operated by, and it'll give a company. So what happens is FedEx sells routes to individuals, like you and I could buy a route, and then we either run it ourselves or we hire somebody. We buy our own truck, we hire our own driver, and that's who they are. And they don't work. Technically they don't work for FedEx. They're contractors. They work for a company which has a contract with FedEx. Whereas the guys and gals who are delivering next day air, those guys are actually FedEx employees, and they're totally different. And because one point in time,
which FedEx is hiring?
They're all hiring because nobody wants to work.
I know.
I mean, find me a place that's, in our Chamber of Commerce meeting Tuesday, if you would have said...
Which was lovely. I have to say it was a very good meeting.
If you would have said, how many people in here run companies? And probably two-thirds of the hand would have gone up. Two-thirds of the hands would have gone up. How many people are looking for people to work? The same two-thirds hands would have gone up. You know what I'm saying?
Probably.
Everybody's looking because nobody wants to work anymore. Everybody wants to be at home. The Apple people, they don't want to leave. The teachers want to go back home so they can teach, in their underwear. You know what I'm saying?
They don't teach in their underwear. That's only you on the air.
The teachers teach in their underwear so that way they can do their OnlyFans account on the side.
Oh, stop it. Chrissy's going to get on you.
She already texted me this morning. She decoded a couple of the license plates, which I can't tell. See, once again, here's a prim and proper school teacher who's decoding the indecent license plates for me. Christy, where did you learn stuff like that? Not from me. Not from your uncle. No, not from me.
She probably did lose it or use it or learn it from the family.
Probably from some of her students. It's 7.
Well, that could be as well.
It's 7:46. I think we're the only station playing that version, the a cappella version. And the reason I play it is because you think she's a good singer. You know she's an incredible singer when you hear her.
She is.
You hear her vamp on that song. I'm telling you, she is so talented. And you know what's so crazy? I talked about this, last month or something like that. I read this review of when she first came out and she had Nothing But the Bass or All About the Bass, whatever the name of the song was. And she just got scorched with the reviewers. And one reviewer said, nice novelty song, one-hit wonder. That was the review. Nice novelty song, one-hit wonder. I guess she proved that guy wrong, right? Jeez Louise. There's always somebody who's got to criticize you. I mean, I would never say anything bad about you, Shelley.
Uh-huh. Keep on telling yourself that, buddy.
There's so much negative energy in the world. We don't need any more, right?
We don't.
Can I tell you a story that has bothered me it happened over the weekend?
Sure.
Okay. When you go into a store and you're walking up to the door, you can sense that there's somebody, you can probably hear the footsteps. There's somebody right behind you. And as you go in the door, you try to hold the door open there for them, correct?
Correct.
Okay. This happened to me Saturday going to the Quickie Mart. Okay, I'm going in there to buy myself a donut and pump a little gas. Okay, so I walk up and I'm behind a woman who's walking like molasses. She's like, I'll get there someday. And I didn't want to like pass her. It's like a butthead or anything like that. So I go up behind her and I'm starting, slowing my pace down. I'm not walking that fast anyway. She opens the door, and I'm far enough behind her where she just lets the door close. I go, okay, fine. So I open up the door, and I go in. And where does she go? Right for the donuts. So she stands there in front of the donut counter. You have to, open up the little, glass sliding door to get the donut. And she stands there, and she's just looking. So, and there's it's like a double windows. There's
right,
side and the left, side and the right. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think to myself, okay, I know where my donuts are. They put them in the same place every day. I grab my little bag and I use my little trick. You know what my little trick is?
No.
You put your hand in the bag and you grab the donut and then you turn the bag inside out. So see, once again, I'm saving the environment because I'm not using one of those little tissues. I'm using the bag as my tissue. Stick my hand in the bag, grab the donut, like my hand is completely covered with the bag. Talking about, sanitary, with the little tissues, your finger can still touch other donuts. But you got the bag around your hand, your whole bag, your whole hand's covered. And she says to me as I'm grabbing my donut, nothing like button in front of me.
Okay.
And I just looked at her and I could have said, hey, honey, you didn't open the door for me, and you're standing there deciding what donut you're going to eat. I know exactly which donut I'm going to eat. I'm in a hurry. See you later. Bye. But I didn't. I just looked at her and I go, hey, good morning. So was I a jerk by saying, hey, good morning?
No. Did you want to be a jerk?
No, but I'm going okay, once again, if you go to the store and there's somebody standing there looking at the meat counter, or whatever it is, and you know exactly what you want, do you stand behind them and go okay, I'm going to wait till they figure out what they want? No, you just go grab what you want, right? A lot of times I'll just say, and I was taught that years ago as a kid. You walk in front of somebody at a store, they're looking at something. If, they're on one side of the aisle and you have to walk in front of them to get past them, I will say, excuse me. And most people go, that's fine. Most people are nice about it. You're getting in front of them. They, once again, they get it. And it happens to me all the time. I'd be looking at something and somebody walks in front of me. I don't have a problem with that. Whoop-de-doo. Life's short. You got to move. You get in those big box stores. They want you in and out. Hurry. No dawdling. I hate dawdling.
I know you do.
It's at our transmitter site.
Yes, it is.
No hunting, no fishing, no dawdling. We
Nope.
don't approve of dawdling. Dawdling is one of those words. It goes along with dilly-dally. You know what I mean?
It does.
Nobody uses dilly-dally or dawdling anymore.
They do not.
Don't dilly-dally around. My mom used to say, you're dilly-dallying around. No, Mom, I'm not dilly-dallying around. If I went to Dairy Queen, I would get a dilly bar, but I'm not dilly or dallying. That used to be my favorite thing at Dairy Queen. God, dilly bars. I still live for dilly bars. They even make those a dilly bar. Don't you know what a dilly bar is?
I do.
Okay.
I'm a peanut butter bar parfait kind of girl.
You made a comment last break, and the smartest woman in the world has replied to you with an article she sent me.
Okay.
And the article is from Wisconsin Public Radio, which is an NPR affiliate, which I don't know if I believe this or not, but we'll read it anyway. It says, here's the topic of the article is Milwaukee-based movie theater corporation continues post-pandemic recovery. Milwaukee-based Marcus Corporation is continuing its rebound following the shock of the COVID-19 pandemic that closed its theaters for months and shifted people's movie-watching habits. Marcus operates more than 80 theaters spread across 17 states. They bought a side note, they bought the Warenberg chain here in St. Louis. They also own hotels and restaurants. Yeah, they were the ones that bought Warenberg. During a recent appearance in WPR's The Morning Show, the president and chief operating officer of the company said Marcus is still recovering and looking to diversify its entertainment venues. He says, this year, quote, this year we were 2/3 of the way back to 2019, and next year we should come a little closer than the year before that. According to the entertainment industry publication Variety, global box office revenue in 2022 was nearly $30 billion, up 27% from 2021, but is still 35% below the three-year average ending in 2019. before the pandemic shuttered theaters and pushed viewers further into the habit of watching movies from the couch rather than on the big screen. According to Marcus, part of the issue is the studios are still not producing the number of films for wide release that they did in the past. So it's not necessarily people not wanting to go to the theaters. People are going to the theaters for things they really want to see, like Maverick, Top Gun. They packed the theaters with that. But other movies they turn out, it's like, I'm not going to see that. Not going to see that. They're not producing. And for me, it's like, okay, how many versions of Batman can we have? How many versions of Spider-Man can we have?
Evidently, quite a bit.
Yeah, no kidding. I have never been a superhero fan. Never. And to the point where if there was a movie where Spider-Man takes on... What's that?
With great power comes great responsibility.
What does that mean?
It's from Spider-Man.
Oh, I don't even know what that's from. To me, it's like,
dude, really?
I don't like those movies.
Why don't you like Spider-Man?
I don't like any of those superhero movies.
How could you not like Spider-Man?
They're stupid.
They're not stupid.
They're stupid, just like all the goofy Batman movies. Like how many different versions?
There is nothing wrong with Batman movies.
They all suck. If for me to go back to the movies, I want Burt Ward and Adam West back on the screen doing the Biff, the Bows, the Bams where they punch people and they have the cartoon thing.
Shoot.
Biff, Bam, wow. I want that. I don't want the Dark Knight stuff and the Joker who is like some psychopathic killer. I don't want that. I want to be entertained. It's just like I shouldn't tell this story. I recently watch part of a movie and it was so depressing. I don't want to see this anymore. This is dumb. It's terrible. I don't want to see it.
I'm that way with Schindler's List.
See, I've never seen that movie.
I haven't either.
I went to see him here. I'll tell you this. I went to see American Sniper. I walked out on that movie.
Why?
Because it was so sad to see what our American troops had to go through. It was depressing for me to see how they were treated. A war that, we couldn't win, that we ultimately, just like in Afghanistan, we ultimately left Iraq and probably shouldn't have been there in the first place. That's a whole other story. But near the end of the movie, because I knew how it ended, I thought to myself, I don't want to see this guy get killed. And I just got up and left. To this day, I've never watched the entire movie. Because to me, that's...
You didn't even watch that scene on YouTube?
No, I don't want to see it.
Oh, okay.
Because that depresses me. Here we have...
Yeah, I can't... I said, I cannot watch Schindler's List or anything that has to do with the Holocaust.
Well, it's like me and Alan Barklage. Here's a guy who did 3 tours of combat duty in Vietnam as a helicopter pilot, shot down, 3 or 4 times. He comes back here, almost gets killed by some crazy woman trying to break her husband or boyfriend out of prison down in Marion, then ultimately crashes on a beautiful Saturday morning, driving out, flying his helicopter out to Bommarito Mazda in St. Charles. And once again, he cheated deaths on so many different levels. And how does he get killed? On a beautiful Saturday morning, flying a helicopter, I just looked at the clock. We got to go. You got 10 seconds to say goodbye.
Oh, that's usually more than I have. So have a great day, everybody. It's Wednesday, right?
Thursday.
Is it Thursday? I lost yesterday. Sorry. So happy Thursday, everybody. Peace and die fly.
I give you 10 seconds. You take 20. It's 8 o'clock.
It's about right.
Have you heard about Salt River Automotive? Not only are we open for business and ready to serve you, we are sponsors of the BS in the Morning Show on Westplex 107.1. Check us out on Facebook at Salt River Automotive LLC. See you soon.